I'm like looking at myself in my camera, and it's amazing what shampoo and conditioner will do for your girl's appearance. It's so funny. Gosh, I feel like I'm 27 again. I haven't seen my hair look like this since I was growing it out. And, you know, I'll just digress for a little bit. I've had, quite a time navigating some inner psychology around, aging and being a woman and my appearance, in the last several years. And I remember once I was really admiring past videos, live streams that I used to do on my channel. My hair in those videos, which sound really vain, but like, when you're a young woman, it's a part of your identity and your personality and, confidence. And I was noticing my hair was being compromised, had become quite compromised for a myriad of reasons. I'm sure hormones and lifestyle, but it actually turns out because, when I was making those live streams, I was not in what came to be a 3-year on again, off again, pretty tumultuous relationship that was really stressful too. And I wasn't caring for my hair the way that I was prior to that. And I borrowed my friend her shampoo and conditioner, which is like some stuff that I would probably normally buy at the health food store, like the shampoo bars and conditioner bars. And I used them and feel like a whole rejuvenated woman. Look at me. I'm like cute. So anyways, we're on a bumpy road. There's a detour that I had to take because they're doing work on the road near my friend's house where I was staying. And so hopefully you can still hear me. And if not, then bless you. Bless us all. I wanted to come on here and just talk about, if you're anything like me, or if you're like a lot of us, you start to kind of piece together these experiences that you have and start to connect the dots, because a lot of life is just about pattern recognition. And the more that you can recognize patterns, I think the more that you can quote unquote succeed in life. And I'll tell you why. I swear I am not okay, now it's better now, but I was gonna make some joke about the road. So anyways, there is, oftentimes in our lives, the very things that we need to heal, we're put in situations that force those reactions that are kept inside out. So for me, for instance, I'll give you an example. I still have some unresolved psychology around putting a lot of blame on myself, like putting too much responsibility on myself, and being considered like also like a bad person, or being doing something wrong. And so naturally I find myself acknowledging certain situations where things are coming up for me in my life that are outside of my control. I cannot control other people, right? I cannot control my outside environment. I'm on planet Earth. And there's very well probably, karma that I'm dealing with, residual karma that I'm facing, for me to also, see and course correct. But it's ultimately, I think, coming up for me to, again, see the things the reactions that I'm having to these situations, to look at them and resolve them. and let them go. And I find myself, there's friendships, for example, that I find people are really uptight, uptight beings that have a more stress orientation, like disposition, I guess, stressful disposition. And I've seen it play out in my own psychology where I'm on edge and I'm trying to do everything perfect because I don't want to upset them. And it's like, first of all, I'm a grown-ass woman. Can we just, I'm not a little girl. And I can't control in advance someone else's reaction to what they may or may not react to. You know what I mean? So I can only be myself, and if being myself is, not okay, then I can change my environment and, obviously stay considerate, but do I want to continue to submit myself to be around people with that kind of disposition? And it doesn't mean that I'm avoiding anything, but it's posing this question of what do I actually want? What kind of life experience do I actually want? Because that requires a lot of courage initially, and a lot of willpower to then make your life into what you want it to be. And it can be very, very scary at first. And to be able to ask that question and then to get real with yourself of what kind of life you actually want. And then see where you're kind of settling. And it's a very tender process. It can be very emotional, especially if you have a lot of energy bound up in your emotional body. So now we're on the actual road, so there's not going to be any more dirt road, bumbly, tumbly, jumbliness. So, so yeah, I'm asking those harder questions of what kind of life do I actually want? If I'm going to be in a relationship too, what kind of relationship I actually want. And I think for me, I've been running from my potential, or at least my energy and my own light, and have kind of let myself be food to other things, belief systems, entities, energies, patterns for a really long time. We all do that. We all have done that at some point being on planet Earth, and I'm really calling in some type of a different life where I have a lot of peace internally, and so I can actually be creative and not consistently just recreate scenarios where the same situations are playing themselves out to keep my energy distracted on the outside, because it's just an illusion. And so as I exit one situation that's been my lifestyle for the last 5 years, basically, living situation, and enter a new dynamic, I get to choose what do I actually want? What kind of life do I actually want? And it feels like it's a lot of pressure and a lot of intensity to have that kind of responsibility for yourself in your life, for the to really take that responsibility and realize it's really not about the external. It's about what you make of it and what you actually want. And so I'm trying my best given this upheaval, because it's a very stressful thing to go through, to move and to relocate and have a new environment and new everything. It can be very destabilizing, and I think that keeping an anchor is essential in your day-to-day life, as well as in your spiritual work and your emotional reality, and having the opportunity to do what I'm doing right here. I'm really grateful that I have this YouTube channel, because it's always been this platform for me to just express what I'm going through, and to continue to build towards a momentum and upward spiral that I want to have for my life. And it can be tricky to not focus so much on the external, like how it can look and manifest, and just like trust the feeling of that I want to feel, and like trust that like everything is temporary. First of all, like just because I'm going from one living situation to the next doesn't mean that that next situation is going to be like my coffin, you know. Everything's about transition and change, and so accepting that like things are temporary and this opportunity that's presenting itself is a bridge, and to treat everything like a bridge. It gives a sense of lightness to life, I think, and a sense of impermanence. And I think it's healthy to kind of look at life like that, because things can feel so heavy and so serious. I know it can for me. And I can get so just like everything's the end of the world, it feels like. I mean, not so much now as I'm getting older, but it's still there. It's that tension, underlying tension of like, I can feel that self, that part. It's like, is this the right decision? Am I like fucking my life up? Am I throwing my life away? You know? Not about moving, but like, is the next place the right move? Because there's so many different probabilities of how we can live our life and the choices that we make. And I realize for me, it's not just my life that I have to think about, it's my child's life. And so that's one of my anchors. And it helps me. Sorry, I'm like biting my nails on camera because it's a lot of feelings I'm having. But yeah, I don't think life is about certainty. I think it's about just taking one next step and just trusting that like me being creative and expressive and expressing myself is actually helping me create that bridge, because I am getting closer to what it is that's the truth for me. And as I live more of my truth, I can be in alignment, and alignment will find me, and my next right living situation will find me, because this one opportunity, it just feels like a good opportunity, but it also is it's so scary to me because it's so different. It's so different. And I think I'm still in that process of like, am I bending too much to adapt? Because humans are very adaptable. And it's like, is this what I actually want? And if I were to get really clear on what I actually want, what do I want? You know? And to get myself out of the spell of scarcity and fear and doubt and anxiety and patterns, and just to go for what I actually want, you know? What do I actually want? And then it's kind of like that quantum theory of like, you choose the path and then like reality collapses around that, and you go on your path, your tunnel. That's the correct words I'm using. So anyways, doing my best. And I don't have any answers, but I have, I guess, enough clarity to just keep walking my path. And I appreciate the pattern interrupt that helps me get perspective to see things from a different way, because, you know, we can get in our ruts and our routines and our patterns and our rhythms, and then when we have these experiences where we consciously choose discomfort by going on a vacation or going somewhere or doing something, or, you know, even doing something localized that changes, you know, the way that just changes things up. It gives an opportunity for you to look at things differently. And I find it to be really great when I have people to bounce ideas off of too. You know, having people around. So hopefully this was helpful, and I look forward to talking with you soon. I don't know if I've made this clear or not, because I've had videos that I've made, but I've had issue editing, so I kind of like put it on the back burner. But I'm in this process of creating one-on-one coaching container, which has been something that I've been talking about for a really long time, but I'm in this process now where I'm making space for that to manifest, and making it accessible for everyone and that wants to do this work with me and walking alongside them. So I'm really defensive driving. I'm really looking forward to seeing the beings that I'm here to walk with and help assist in a coaching container that serves them and their needs. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. And